non-spoiler review. Avengers Endgame. Overall thoughts. You gotta let me know.
I effing loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was so satisfied. But I did just a whirlwind of emotions for 3 hours.
Yeah, totally.
And surprisingly, I didn't have to pee.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't have to use a restroom either. Also, I did manage to use the bathroom. Okay, I was kind of preparing myself too, so I didn't have any liquids at all.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to have to get up, especially when something crazy happens. So, yeah. Same man. I loved it. And just to make Bryce mad, I'm not going to put it in my number 1 in the top 5.
Yeah, we do.
We do our top 5 at the end of the year, and I didn't put Infinity War in my top 5, and he was pissed that I didn't put that.
I remember.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I love this movie a lot. It was 3 hours long, as we mentioned, and there's a lot of things I liked in this movie. There's so much payoff moments that everyone's been waiting for.
A lot of fan service.
There was definitely a lot of fan service in this, and in a good way.
Yeah.
In a great way, in a well-production way. The Russo brothers did a fantastic job. Everyone was happy when Whedon took over when Whedon directed the first one, and he did a great job doing it, and given with this movie, they directed Winter Soldier, which was one of my favorite ones out of the Marvel movies. These two know exactly, they knew what they were doing since day one. They have a vision, and they executed it very well. Did you hear that, originally it was almost 4 hours?
Really?
Yeah. I've heard it was almost 4 hours, and they cut out so much.
I could have sat another hour.
I could not have sat another hour.
It didn't feel.
It didn't. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Not to make it sound bad or anything, but it didn't feel like 3 hours. And why is my work phone ringing? Can you stop that? Yeah, it didn't feel like 3 hours. It felt like 2 hours. I'll put it that way. It felt like 2 hours.
Yeah, it just felt like an average movie.
Yeah, and it rolled very well. I thought I was gonna get kind of all right, there's gonna be some lull parts, but I didn't feel that. I don't know if you did.
No, not at all.
No.
I loved the way it opened. It was a nice way to.
It opened great. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Not recap, because it's kind of a part 2, even though they're not calling it a part 2.
It's a part 22 apparently.
Well,
yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. But how they opened it, it was impactful. It reminded you of what happened.
It's like a little recap almost.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a recap without recapping.
Yeah.
And then it just throws you into the story.
Yeah. And it wasn't in the sense like a previously type of thing. It was overall visually really well.
And it set the tone very well. Because it's pretty much the way they did it. It was okay, this is the kind of movie you're in for. Because it's not like Infinity War.
Yeah, not at all.
Definitely
Infinity
a
War.
different kind of movie.
Overall, I love the movie. I think you loved it too, as you said. Yeah, we have to go into spoilers. So
spoilers.
So yeah, Ash, if you're watching, we'll wave you in like this when we're done talking spoilers, which is probably gonna be the whole thing.
Or you could just type in the chat. Spoilers over.
Yeah.
Well, we can do different levels of spoilers too, because there's obviously medium range that we could talk about before we go into
the big ones,
the actual spoilers that people will be pissed off about.
I want to be safe.
Okay.
I'd rather just be safe.
Okay.
So here we go. We're gonna go into spoilers. I'm throwing up spoiler alert right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot you had that sweet frame.
Yeah, I added a spoiler alert.
Nice.
So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Favorite parts of the movie.
You go first, because you've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There's a lot of things, like I said, I loved about this movie, and
my favorite part is a big spoiler.
Yeah, mine is too. I would think so. And then there's also nitpicks that I have.
Oh, nitpicks.
I do have
really?
nitpicks. Yeah.
I kind of want to go into the nitpicks first.
That's what actually I'm going to do right now. So, I wasn't going to, but now I am.
You have to.
I mean, not right now. I was going to talk about what I like, but now I am. Thor. I did not like what they did to Thor.
Really?
Not whatsoever. Thor, like at the beginning, it pretty much picks up right after Infinity War, and then from there, like they track down Thanos, and like we're in spoiler alert, they kill him. You know, they chopped his head off. You know, they said he should have went for the head. This time he goes for the head, and then it does the thing in cinema that I hate. 5 years later, I hate when movies do that. I don't like it. But it was okay with this one.
It worked really well for this one.
It worked.
Because it had to show that...
Because
that
they lost.
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they could do. They killed him, but he says, I used the stones to destroy the stones. You know?
And they had to show how the world like moved on, too.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like... after the 5 years later, you know, it starts with Captain America and a support group with other regular people talking about like who they lost, almost like it was a support group, you know. And I don't know if you caught this, but in that support group, the director was in that group.
Oh, really?
He was the first one.
Okay, no.
Yeah, where he talked about his husband.
Oh,
Was it husband or his boyfriend?
yeah.
Yeah, in the
He went
snap.
out on a date.
Yeah, because he went out on a date. Yeah, that's one of the directors.
Oh, okay.
I think that's Joe Russo.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was interesting to see him. I was like, oh, and I think, like, I was waiting for other people to go, like, oh, and no one did. I was like, at least, you know, because everyone says with Stan Lee, everybody knows who he is now.
Yeah.
You know, they point out his cameo and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think they've done enough press to know what they look like. But, I don't know, I guess I was... Brian figured it. Brian knew, too. But yeah, that was the director. But yeah, I really like that part a lot. The way how he kind of took over for Falcon. I forgot his character's actual name. Anthony Mackie's character is Falcon. Like he ran like, what was it, the VA? And this was kind of similar to that, where he's talking to other people who lost people and, you know, in the dusting. And I really like that moment. That's where it picks up. And I thought it was really cool. So, like, it kind of worked, the 5 years later part. But they do get all...
But you can show that without saying that, without having the text on the screen.
That is true. That you can do that without the text on the screen. But with that being said, it does deal with time travel, which I think was kind of obvious.
We kind of all guessed it. Because how else are you going to solve this problem?
You're not going to leave these people dead. So... that was one of my nitpicks, and then Thor, but the nitpick that actually kind of worked. But Thor, being fat and like basically who looks like the dude from The Big Lebowski. He looks like exactly like him with his sunglasses and everything.
That's amazing.
And just didn't do it for me. I was like, he just kept. I mean, I guess you need that comic relief, but at the same time, it was just so weird looking at him like that, and it's like. I understand why he's like that, but I thought it was too much. And then I was just waiting for the moment where he turns into back into regular Thor, you know, and he never does.
I kind of like that though.
You did?
Yeah. Well, one for the comic relief because you don't have.
So he's basically Mr. Incredible.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Because you don't. Because other than him, there is no comic relief in this movie. It's really dark, really sad, lots of depressing moments. Yeah. And with, 95% of the Guardians gone, Thor is the comic relief.
That's true, yeah.
But it also works for his character because he's the most, immature out of all of them. He's the child one. He's the one who was handed everything to him.
That's true. Oh my God, yeah.
And so he grew. So this was part of, a typical storyline where he, someone who has everything handed to him his entire life, when you fall to the bottom, what are you going to do? And he just let himself go.
Yeah.
They just did it to comedic extremes.
Yeah, they did. One of the things I did like about that scene when they went to go find him was the two characters from Ragnarok.
Yeah. Playing Fortnite.
Yeah,
I think they were playing
I forgot their names.
The in-game version of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you didn't see Ragnarok. But yeah, there's these two characters which I think were probably the best part of Thor Ragnarok. Well, that and Valkyrie was really awesome too. Tessa Thompson. But yeah, it's fun to see them back again, especially the director Taika. What I can't say his name. Watiki. He directed the Thor Ragnarok. Okay. And like he's an actor and a fucking director.
Okay.
Like this dude's funny in this movie. Like I'm sure he ad-libbed all his lines. Like it just seemed that way. But yeah, I didn't like that they did that to Thor. Like, cause I feel like there wasn't really a payoff. But yeah, I guess what you said makes sense. You know, it shows the downfall of his character after.
Well, the payoff too is where he ended up at the end.
Yeah.
Because.
Oh yeah.
Because his character, the way that he is now, works best with where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Than who he was originally.
That's true. That is true. That does work.
Yeah. I love how you just shut Rick down. You're like,
no, because
Rick, you're wrong.
No, because it makes it. Yeah.
No, but I can see
I don't know why I'm holding back. He basically joins the Guardians.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be like the Asgardians of the Galaxy, which is actually a comic book called Asgardians of the Galaxy because Thor joins them. Which is going to be interesting to see him and Chris Pratt interact together. Like I think Thor is probably going to be in Guardians 3. So. Part I'd liked to. I think the best part of the entire movie for me was Captain America picking up Thor's hammer. Was fucking awesome.
That was cool.
That was the best thing I saw in that movie. That was so cool. Him with his fucking shield and the hammer. It was so good. Well,
he tries to lift it in the first Avengers, right?
Yeah, and it like kind of moves a little.
Yeah.
The Avengers 2.
Okay.
Yeah. There's actually a callback to that where Thor kind of looks like I knew it or something like that. Like I knew you could pick that up or something like that. It was funny.
So I actually have a question on you because you're more down with like the comic lore and everything on that. So when Captain America finally gets that hammer, that officially makes him Thor, right?
Not necessarily.
Because Thor is the name of the hammer. It's not Thor.
Well, Thor is Thor. No, the hammer's name is I can't say it. Mjolnir.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to say for me.
Because the movie ends with like Thor doesn't have the hammer.
Yeah, Thor doesn't have the hammer. Captain America.
Yeah.
So I guess he would. But then you see what happens to Cap at the end.
At the end, and where's the hammer?
Yeah. Oh, that is true.
I'm sure it's going to be a whole movie.
Unless they get Natalie Portman back and she becomes Thor, like in the comic book, Jane Foster becomes Thor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she signed on to be in this movie. Because spoiler alert, Natalie
she came back. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I felt like they cut her scene down, like just by watching it, because like we got a little bit of her, but not enough, in my opinion. And I was wondering maybe they cut something out because it looked like that scene. What they do is they go back to the points of where the stones were.
They split into 3 groups going at 3 different times.
And Thor: The Dark World, Jane Foster, Natalie Portman gets embodied with the red. Which one? I think it's a Reality Stone.
Okay.
And Thor and Rocket go back to that time, and Rocket goes to pull the stone from Jane while Thor ends up running into his mom just before her inevitable death. And it was a really good moment between Thor and Rene Russo.
Yeah, that was good. Very sweet.
It was cool to see her come back too. I thought she was great.
The long list of one of the fan service.
Yeah. The hammer. So yeah, I guess I don't know what's gonna happen with the hammer now. I didn't think about that. You're right. Because he has the shield when he came back.
Did the theater fucking erupt when he picked up the hammer.
Oh yeah, the theater. Oh, everyone went fucking nuts in the theater.
It's great. I love it. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was eventually. It felt like it was just waiting for that moment to happen, and it fucking happened. It was so awesome. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to that hammer. The biggest point, I guess. Oh, Ant-Man. Paul Rudd throughout the entire movie, of course.
He was great though.
He was yeah. No, I say that in a great way. Yeah, in a good way. He's
like the white Will Smith. He just plays Paul Rudd and everything.
Yeah. Because of him, like that's how they figured out time travel, or got the opportunity for time travel with help of Tony Stark. That 5 years later mark does show him and Pepper did actually. Oh, you didn't see Infinity War, but they talk about having a child. They had a child. In the comics, he does have a child. But yeah, Tony Stark figures out how to time travel, and they do a whole Back to the Future, Back to the Future, and like Terminator, like all that bullshit. This is how time travel really works. So they kind of like bend the rules with like our science and movie science, which I thought was interesting. And then they go back to the first Avengers movie to get the Time Stone, and I thought that part was interesting with the Hulk. Professor Hulk. We get Professor Hulk in this, which was fucking awesome.
That was cool.
That was so cool. But yeah, we get him talking to the Ancient One, and how like she can't give up the Time Stone because it's just gonna make alternate realities. Kind of like a little bit in Back to the Future, and Back to the Future 2, where he stole the DeLorean to give the almanac to himself, and he calls this alternate timeline. That's what she was basically telling Hulk about, is like all these things get split off into different directions.
Leave the almanac, bro. You don't need
it. So like, even though you'll have this timeline, people from this timeline right now is going to go this way, and you're still messing with time, and the whole point is keeping time together. So it's interesting how they worked time travel, or how they mess with time travel in this. We do see New Asgard, which is kind of where they found Thor, New Asgard. The place where they filmed that kind of looked like the town in that Robin Williams movie, Popeye. I don't know if you've seen it. Doesn't it look a little bit like that town? Like I was wondering, like, I wonder if they actually like cleaned it up, because I know it still exists. I wonder if like they cleaned it up and kind of filmed there, or it was just digital. I don't know. Because it looked almost exactly like it. You've seen Popeye, right?
Of course.
Yeah. It looked almost exactly like it. In my opinion, I thought it looked exactly like it. Because that's the first thing I saw or thought of when they showed the wide shot. I don't know. I'm going off. Any other favorite moments?
I guess my favorite moment actually happened during that big battle at the end, when Captain Marvel was fighting Thanos.
Yeah,
and
that was awesome.
He was getting his
butt kicked.
Yeah, he was getting his butt kicked, and he realized, what he had to do, and so he grabbed the Power Stone, like off of it, and then used the Power Stone to hit her back. And I just love that because she pulled it off. That's right. Yeah. It just showed. I just like that scene because it showed how powerful she really is. It showed how smart he can be, and it showed what the stones can do if you use them appropriately. And I just like how it conveyed a lot of stuff in like 3 seconds.
Yeah. That was and then when he tried to do the snap, the way she just like held up his hands apart was really good. Yeah. They
handled her well, I thought, because she was absent most of the film.
Yeah, she wasn't in the film,
but
it
made sense. Yeah, it made sense because you can't have her around because she'll just kick everybody's ass.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah. But you saw the trailers for the Captain Marvel movies, I'm sure.
Yes.
Where she does have that current like Marvel suit look, Captain Marvel suit look, and in this they gave her the haircut So now she looks exactly like that, like Captain Marvel from the comic book with the short haircut, on, like shaved on the sides and the big old yeah, she looked exactly like Captain Marvel in this, which I thought was fucking perfect. The last battle scene with Thanos was everything a kid can imagine.
It was so epic.
It was
so big.
Epic. It was huge. It was basically like watching, like what I imagined in my brain when I'm playing with my toys and they're going, oh, you know, like that. It's so good.
Yeah, and everyone was there. Like literally everyone was there.
Yeah. Yeah, Wasp. Everyone came back, obviously, with Doctor
from every movie.
Yeah. Like this movie was expensive as fuck to make, man.
Did $60 million on Thursday night.
Just on Thursday.
Shit.
So that's like 1% of their budget, probably.
Yeah. They try to keep the gauntlet away from Thanos because they managed to get the stones and put it on, like, the Tony Stark makes this like alternative like gauntlet to have it, and Hulk gets to put it on because of the radiation. You know, and him, you know, being full of gamma rays. Yeah. So he does a snap to make everyone come back, and everyone's still kind of wondering what's happening. And then, like, out of nowhere, Thanos comes and just like bombards the entire Avengers headquarters and just like nearly destroys everything in that headquarters. Well, does destroy everything in the headquarters. But yeah, and then they basically play football with the gauntlet and try to keep it away from him. And that's when you start seeing, like, did you see Avengers? You didn't see that one either? Okay. There's this hero shot where, you know, they kind of like circle around all of them. I'm sure you've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah. They do something kind of similar like that, but it's like almost like a one continuous take. A oneer. I mentioned one earlier last week. Where they have the gauntlet and
we made fun of it.
When they have the gauntlet and it's just being passed to each different character to keep it away from them. So you have Spider-Man not wearing it, just holding on to it. And then you see, I don't know, like he's about to like fall and hit the floor, and then you see Wasp come, picks him up, like, I got you, kid, and then like it just keeps going, and then it gets passed to another character and another character, and it's like that was like so epic.
Yeah.
It's full, oh yeah. Everyone's back. It's insane how they did this.
You guys are making me want to see it.
You have to see this, man. You really do. Like,
it seems different. The way you're talking about it, it seems different than a lot of the stuff they've been doing.
It's different than any of the other movies they made. This one actually, they say it like almost in the past Marvel movies, you know, where they have the big glowing sky, or like, you know, the weight of the world. Like this one, you feel it. Like you feel it really a lot. And cryable moments. There's many of those too. Tony Stark seeing his father.
Yeah. And
like trying to get that chance to talk to him without his father knowing that that's him, because they go back pre.
Oh yeah, that ends up being the fourth timeline, or the fourth time they travel to.
Yeah, yeah, to get the Loki stone, the Tesseract. And he ends up running into his father, and his father mentions, he's like, "Oh, I'm just an MIT student," Tony says, and like they have like a moment, and a pretty good long moment too, which is, it was well done, and yeah, it was nice to see that along, you know, with Thor and his mother, and then I feel like I'm missing others. I know I'm missing others. But the one with Tony and his dad was really good. Any other cryable moments for you that you can think of?
I don't know cryable, but for whatever reason, I must have blacked out that Gamora died in Infinity War.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
that's like a pivotal moment,
right? I forgot like how Thanos got the Soul Stone, and like because I was a huge fan of her, so I just blocked it out. And so when we were watching, or when I was watching EndGame, and then they broke into the 3 timelines, and then Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir, right, to get the Soul Stone. It didn't dawn on me that one of them would have to die in order to get the Soul Stone.
You know what? I
didn't realize it till they stood up there, and then I was like, "Holy shit! One of them is gonna die."
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I was wondering who was going to be the people who were going to go there. I guess I must have, because I guess the theater was kind of loud, so I didn't know it was going to be them. Mm-hmm. And then when I found out it was Hawkeye and
Black Widow.
Black Widow. I wanted to say Scarlet Witch, but Scarlett Johansson. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like shit, who's gonna die? And like they make it hard to figure out who's gonna die because they start fighting each other.
Great scene with them.
It's insane, really and yours look interested, so I'm not gonna say. Okay. I don't want to say.
Say it.
But they do a really good fight choreographed sequence between them two. Okay. You know, with great dialogue. You know, like no, you're gonna tell them yourself, and I'm like no, and it's like who's gonna die? And it comes down to the part where both of them end up going off the cliff, and Hawkeye does his thing with an arrow and a line to like save Scarlett Johansson from falling, Black Widow from falling, and then ends up being Black Widow falling, which it was hard to guess who was going to fall because that was a really good fight scene. But yeah, that's how they had to get the Soul Stone because you have to give something a soul for a soul, you know, and she's not coming back.
No,
she is not coming back. Like, I'm so pissed and so sad that she is not coming back.
Yeah.
Like, she was a great cast for Black Widow. Like, I know Emily Blunt was apparently going to play Black Widow, which I guess I could totally see her too.
Hell yeah.
But with how much we've been following, with Scarlett Johansson, like, she's great. She did a really good job from the second Iron Man movie to now. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. That really sucks. I mean, we are going to see her, and I think the TV show's going to be, or the movie's going to be a prequel.
Yeah, she's going to have her swan song. It'll be a prequel. And it'll explain why she needed to be the one to die.
Yeah, and Loki died in Infinity War. But with with what happened with the Tesseract, he ended up escaping, so he's actually still alive.
Yeah, so in one of the different timelines they messed up and couldn't get a hold of the Tesseract, and Loki got a hold of it and just disappeared.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because he's going to have his own TV show on Disney+.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, another great part with Captain America when they're trying to get that Tesseract and they get in the elevator and it's exactly like Winter Soldier.
I love that.
And then instead of fighting, he leans over and just says, "Hail Hydra," because he's trying to get the Loki staff from him.
Yeah.
Because Hydra's apparently already took over S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, and they didn't. I mean, they already know this, so they instead of fighting them off, he just says "Hail Hydra" and takes the thing from him because he had different orders. Like that was awesome.
Indiana Jones when he just shoots the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say similar to that. Yeah.
Well, I like how they made fun of that too because they use Ant-Man to like point out that. How didn't you not know these were bad guys? They look like bad guys.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That was funny. That was a good line, yeah. Steve Rogers, at the very end of this movie, gets what he wants. And he gets to live his life. He goes back to put all the Infinity Stones back to where they were in the right time place, in the right time line. Mm-hmm. As the Ancient One told him to. And with that, he ended up living his life out instead of becoming Captain America.
Okay.
So you get to spend his time with
Peggy
Carter. And that was sweet. That that's good, but at the same time, it kind of pisses me off because I want more Chris Evans as Captain America.
Because technically, he's gone too now.
Yeah, he is gone. And now we have... so the Falcon... he gives the shield to the Falcon saying, says something about him being Captain America now. And even though he doesn't have the super soldier serum. But he does have a small... in the comic books, he does become Captain America for a little bit before Bucky ends up taking over. Mm-hmm. So, and plus they have their own TV show now for the Disney Plus. So I think that's going to have to deal with...
Maybe that's when they'll do the switcheroo.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it just made more sense. So, like, why not just give it to Bucky? It's it's your friend from forever. But yeah, that was sad, but sad in a good way. Yeah. Because he got to live what he got to do what he wanted to do, is have his last dance, his whole life with Peggy Carter. Because that scene in Winter Soldier where he goes to see her in the hospital and she has like dementia or like Alzheimer's. So like there's a real good scene in that where they're talking, and it's nice, and then like all of a sudden she just goes out of it and she's like, "Oh my God, Steve, you're alive, you're back," and it's it just rips your heart open. Kevin Smith talked about that. I don't know if you ever heard that one when he reviewed Winter Soldier.
I'm sure he cried like he does every time he talks about any one of these movies.
But yeah, that was so heart-wrenching. And then we get the inevitable death of Tony Stark.
Saving the world like he always
Saving the
does.
world. He can finally rest.
Which that was the only death I kind of assumed would happen.
Yeah, I think everyone knew.
Because he launched this whole phase of the MCU, so I'm like, it's only poetic if he also ends it.
It's his fault. He's got to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also the only one of them that had made some serious mistakes to the world.
That's true. He ends up... just as in that big battle scene just says Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet, or Tony's Infinity Gauntlet. Like, he's about to put it on, and then Tony comes after him, to try to get it. And then because, of course, it's made with Stark tech, it goes onto him instead of Thanos. Yeah. So then he gets that one last snap, back from Thanos. So it was cool. It was sad, but he got to fix the timeline and keep what he wanted, which was his daughter. Because they're saying if you fix the timeline, you're not going to have your daughter. One of his things was like he has to keep her. So yeah, that was sad. And then Peter kind of reversed with what happened in Infinity War. Yeah. With Peter Parker losing Tony like that, and Pepper Potts as well, like just losing it. We get a nice funeral scene for Tony, and everyone's there that's been in the Iron Man movies, and even the like everyone was wondering about the kid standing by himself in the funeral, like he was there by himself, like everyone tried to figure out who he was. It was the kid from the third Iron Man, and I had to look that up in order to get who that was. But it totally made sense. I had to look it up too. Yeah, I had to look it up. Like who is that kid? I didn't see her, but Brian, my friend that I stayed with, he said he saw Kobe Smulders, but I didn't see.
Yeah,
Kobe
she was
Smulders.
there.
I didn't see her.
Right before they panned to Captain Marvel.
Oh, well, I'll have to watch it again.
Oh darn.
I've actually been trying to get tickets to go watch it again because I'm going to be working in Orange County. There's nothing. Yeah, I can't. Unless I want to sit in the front row, which I don't. But it's a great fucking movie. I don't know what else parts you enjoyed or made you sad.
Well, I got sad when I realized, when at the end when they snapped the fingers and brought everyone back, but Vision did not come back. And then it took me a second to realize...
He was Machine.
Yeah, he was Machine, and Thanos destroyed him to get the stone in the first place, so he wouldn't have came back.
Yeah.
And so I got kind of sad.
Oh my god, the fight between Scarlet Witch and Thanos.
Yeah.
Where like, you took this away from me, and he had no fucking clue what he was talking, or she was talking about. Yeah. Like, that was, like, she got what, I mean, she got to fight him, which was great. Speaking of fighting, though, Hulk never got to fight Thanos. He didn't get his,
true.
The rebuttal from what happened in Infinity War, which kind of made me sad. That's one of my nitpicky things that kind of like, I'm like, well, it would have been nice if we had, got to see that battle.
Well, he didn't, like, everyone who fought Thanos had a more personal connection, or like a higher need to fight him, and so it was okay for me that Hulk didn't.
That does make sense. Shut me down again. I'm playing. But no, it's true. Yeah, that does make sense because, like, with Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, yeah, Captain Marvel. I was actually hoping to see more of her in this. But it made sense.
They used her just enough.
I think they used it the right amount. Yeah.
Because as soon as she did come into the battle, like, she just wiped out so much. It wouldn't have been as great as a battle if she was there at the beginning.
Yeah. I like the beginning where Tony and I forgot her name, Gamora's sister.
They
were playing Nebula. They were just playing the paper football.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was fucking funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was clever. To kill time, I guess, for being stuck up there. Yeah. Oh, man, this movie was just so good.
Yeah, it was good.
You don't have any nitpicks at all?
No. I'm going to see it again.
Yeah.
So I think it's very possible I was just so wide-eyed and, like, wowed by the whole thing.
There was a lot going on to the point, too, where, like, even I'm still trying to remember vividly, like, in that big battle scene, like, what happened.
Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine, like, how much talent went into that and storyboarding that battle.
Yeah. That must have been insane.
Yeah.
I liked having... I did love seeing Valkyrie back on her Pegasus.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And the way they just brought it, like the way when they're fighting and then you hear Falcon saying on your left, and then like slowly they start coming out of Doctor Strange's portal thing. That was really funny, or not funny, but like clever. Oh man, I don't know what else. If you got anything else to say, I think we could have gone over a lot of time.
We went over everything.
Mike.
Alright.
Let me turn off spoilers. Let me let Ash know she's still here to come back. We done. But yeah, like, overall, fucking awesome.
So the only movies out of this whole 22 movie saga I've seen are Iron Man 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And I ended up catching Guardians of the Galaxy like on HBO because everybody said it was so good, you need to see it. So I watched it and it's good. Like I wasn't like, oh my god, I wasn't blown away. It was good. The main reason why I think I might have said this last time you were on, because I'm sure we fucking covered a Marvel movie when you were on, because when do we not cover a Marvel movie? My main problem with a lot of the stuff post Iron Man 2 especially is that they got super formulaic until Guardians. They got super formulaic, and every trailer for every Marvel movie that was coming out, if you would have changed the name of who's directing it or producing it to Michael Bay, it would have looked just like a Michael Bay movie. And I think it's super cool that all of these characters and all of these stories are being treated with the respect they're being treated with. And, you know, somebody who grew up as kind of a nerdy kid, and I wasn't like super into comics, but there was like the comics that I enjoyed and the ones I read. It's really cool to see these characters come to life now. But I also feel like they get overhyped by people that need to feel validated for the things they liked that nobody liked when they were growing up, and now everybody likes it. And there's always a lot of hyperbole around every Marvel movie, and I'm not saying that they're bad or don't deserve the praise they get, because I'm sure they do, but it's just always the greatest thing ever. And then, you know, when another, you know, summer blockbuster action movie comes out that's directed or produced by somebody that community doesn't like, that sucks. But it's the same formula and same style of a lot of those earlier Marvel movies. Then when Guardians came out, I think they felt the fatigue and were like, okay, we need to switch it up. Let's take these characters that are completely different than from what we've been doing, and in the comics are completely different than every other comic book characters, all the other comic book characters. So let's take this and kind of change the paradigm. And they did that. But then every movie was like Guardians for a while, where it was one-liners and this, and it was kind of over the top. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's they changed with the times when they needed to change. And the way you guys were describing this movie really feels like they got really in touch with the IP and the comics and these characters and their history, and really kind of blew them out the way I wish they would have been blowing them out since the beginning, instead of making like the fun summer action movie with comic book characters, or the fun buddy movie with comic book characters instead of something else or different characters. So, but hearing you guys talk about this movie gets me super interested into seeing not only this movie, but maybe some of the other ones that I passed over, just me being the cynical asshole that I always am. So yeah,
I think with liking Paul Rudd, you should watch the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah,
they're nothing like the other movies too.
In general, I think you're doing a great disservice to yourself, because I don't see that how formulaic they all are. Mm-hmm. Within each, like, I think all the Iron Mans are separate than all the Captain Americas, than all the Thors.
Okay.
I feel like I'm watching completely different worlds and movies. So even those characters with, like, when Thor appears in, no, let me reverse it. When Hulk appears in Ragnarok, and Thor Ragnarok, he acts differently than when Hulk is in Avengers.
Okay.
So these characters stay true to themselves, but they mesh well with whatever
they adapt.
They adapt to whatever they are, and Captain America: Civil War is by far one of my favorite movies I've ever seen.
That was the first time.
All time.
That was the first time Bryce yelled at Rick. I think was it Civil War or was it Winter Soldier? Winter Soldier. It was okay. It was.
What are you talking about, like top 5 things?
Yeah.
Oh, that was Infinity War.
Was it Infinity? No. But there was one before that where he.
Civil War.
Civil War. Okay, yeah.
But you said Winter Soldier or Civil War?
Civil War.
Oh, Civil War.
Winter Soldier's great.
Yeah.
The original Captain America takes place in the past with Nazis and World War II, and like how could you not stay? Like, why are you staying away from that?
I don't know. Like,
the Ant-Man movies are heist movies because they're criminals stealing things.
Like, and for the main thing, it's like a lot of the hyperbole surrounding things. Like, that's why it's hard for me to get into TV shows that are on, or a different thing, whether it's a video game or a book or a record, an album or record. I'm old. Or, a movie or, any form of entertainment. It's super hard for me to take seriously when you hear the greatest thing ever from so many people. And that's not discounting their opinions or what they're saying. It always just feels like before the internet was clickbait, like that's what conversations with people were. Mm-hmm. That's the fucking greatest thing ever. And it's like, all right, cool. And that's the one thing I've never grown out of is, I wouldn't even call it like wanting to be counterculture. It's just wanting to not, like, there's no way I'm going to like this as much as this person likes this. So why would I even try, That's the one aspect of my personality that has not really evolved or I've grown out of as I've gotten older. Mm-hmm. It happened. It's hilarious. Like, I was just talking to Rick about it in music. It happened like the other day. I'm a fan of Howard Stern, and I was listening to Howard Stern show, and it was a show from 2015 where he had 5 Seconds of Summer on, and they did an interview and they played 3 songs, and I was like, how the fuck did this band get on his radar to be on his show? It's so weird. And the interview ended up being super entertaining, and their performances of their songs, and they also did a cover of American Idiot that we watched right before you got here. That's why that song's in our head. And it was really fucking good. And now I'm like, oh, that band's pretty good. But, originally I kind of discounted them as like, oh, it's just, these fucking kids from Australia playing derivative music of shit that I liked growing up. And I end up really liking them as people because of their interview and really liked them playing their music and have actually gone back and given it a shot now. So it's something I've always done where I've kind of stayed away from things when it's like the hot thing, and then I go back later and can form my own opinion. I hate the be a part of the conversation mentality.
That's why it's taking him this long to watch Breaking Bad.
It's one of the main reasons why. Yeah.
And he hasn't touched Stranger. He probably won't touch Stranger Things until what? Another 2 years?
I don't know. I really want to watch that though, because we watched the trailer for that and I was like, that looks really fucking cool and right up my alley. And then before I could get to it and watch it, it was like
everyone was already praising
it. A billion people binged it, and I'm like, I don't know if I can watch it.
You
now.
seem like a huge fan of the 80s and 80s culture and stuff. So
yeah, watch that. I know. It's something I'm working on. Okay, James.
Okay.
But yeah, that's.
But if everyone is working on something, he's not going to be working on it.
I'm getting better. Like I don't think a year ago I would have ever come on here and said, "Hey, I really like 5 Seconds of Summer. I heard an interview of them, and they were really cool, and I really liked their performances." I just wouldn't have given them a chance. But now, like this whole week, I've been listening to their catalog of music, and I'm like, "These guys are pretty fucking all right. I like it."
Yeah, you need to watch.
I'm not gonna watch all fucking 22 movies.
No. I'm talking about EndGame.
Oh yeah,
they're not all the greatest ones ever. But
that's what everybody tells me.
But they're all good films.
That's why you only listen to us, to me and James. Not listen to anyone else.
Yeah, if I judge Rick's top 5 list by what Marvel movies I should watch, like this is probably one of the only. Because I think he purposely, like he says he doesn't, but I think he purposely leaves these off his top 5 just to piss Bryce off. I know you don't, but it really does seem that way sometimes. Like yeah, last year.
Well, maybe he just forgets that I am kind of a film geek.
Snob is the proper term.
I
mean, come on, almond milk hipster. We know what you are. But that was awesome listening to you guys talk about it. I don't think I've heard Rick talk about something with that kind of passion.
Dude, this is like
a long while.
Like I've been into comics since I was a kid. You know, Spider-Man, X-Men were like my first ones that I picked up, and like watching this, just like everything I ever dreamed of. You know, everything I've ever dreamed of come to life, and with such great actors. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
so awesome.
I said it from the beginning. Like, there was only one person on this planet that can play Tony Stark, and they fucking nailed it and got him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only person that could have played that character.
Can you believe Tom Cruise almost played the
Tony Stark? Completely different movie.
That would be completely different.
We would not be here 22 movies later.
Oh no, sir!
Because that Iron Man set the tone.
Yeah,
it really set the tone.
It did. Yeah. That stinger at the end was just because I think Favreau just wanted to put it in there.
Yeah.
They had no map or anything yet until like second movie or you know, when everyone's like, hey, it looks like you can make something of this.
Yeah, and then like I remember us talking about him, like Robert Downey Jr. was like, yeah, we're gonna do this Avengers movie, and I think I'm done after that. And here we are, like 8 years later. And
even Thanos at the end of the first Avengers, we didn't just wanted to put him in there. He just asked, like, can I put this person in there? They're like, yeah, sure. So like, if that wasn't even supposed to be a thing too.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. How far they've come with all these characters and all these properties.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for sure.
You know, I don't know if Bryce said this or asked me this too, if EndGame was going to be a depress fest, but it kind of is a happy depress fest.
Yeah, I mean,
the tone is depressed, but they don't.
Yeah.
It's trying to wrap things up while also continuing things. Like you can, you know, that's what this movie's going to be going in.
Handing the sword down to the next people.
Yeah, passing the torch, if you will.
Torch, yeah.
Sword is good too.